Well, if we are starting out these last three episodes this way, I might actually cry at the end of this. Who knows? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions, and today's the day. I know they came out last night, but now is when I post my Andor reactions to the 3 episode arcs that drop, and it's all over. Last three are now out, and now it is time to wrap up quite possibly the best Star Wars show that Disney has ever made. And we begin that journey with Season 2, Episode 10, Make It Stop. Luthen is being boxed in by the ISB. He knows it, and he has got to find a way out. And him and Clea have come up with a plan. And will they be able to execute it in time before the ISB catches up to them? We'll find out. So, this episode, I kind of had a feeling that Luthen was going to die at some point in Season 2. I didn't know when, didn't know how, but I just had a feeling he might die. But I wasn't expecting this at all. So we start out with Lonnie Young, who is the mole for Luthen at the ISB. He's like, dude, I'm spent. I've burned every single thing that I know at my job. It's like I've looked into Dedra's files for, I've had them for a year. Because we, again, like every other arc in the season, we jump ahead 1 year. It is now 1 BBY in this arc. And he basically says the Emperor's energy program's a lie. It's a front. The Gorman massacre, that was meant to take control of the planet and take something from it. All of this stuff, it's a front. And Luthen's like, what is it a front for? And Lonnie says they're building a weapon. Krennic's been building this for a decade. And Luthen asks, what type of weapon are we dealing with? And the way that this episode is shot is really, really, really good. Let me see if I can't try and find who did the cinematography for these 3 episodes. Because my assumption is that it's going to be the exact same person for all 3 episodes. Damian Garcia was the cinematographer. If he's been the cinematographer for all of the episodes, I want to say congrats on all the amazing work that you've done, but especially in this episode. A lot of very interesting, unique angles, and in fact, we get a bit more of Luthen's backstory. He was a sergeant during war times, and he, is hearing all of this like death, destruction, and chaos around him, and that's where we get the title for this episode, because Luthen says, "Make it stop, make it stop," and then he sees someone or notices something on the ship, and it's Clea. This is how they first met. Um, and meanwhile, back in present time, Luthen is, after learning everything about this weapon, we find out that he shot Lonnie and killed him, and he goes to his shop and burns, not necessarily burns, but like tries to erase like the switchboard by, I'm assuming, pouring carbonite on it. But Dedra shows up, and she's like, I've walked past here so many times, but I've never, come in to, look around. And she's like, is there anything in here that's like, fake? And Luthen, grabs a dagger. Can't remember the specific name of the dagger, but he grabs a dagger. And Dedra's like, well, I think I have something that I might want to sell. And Luthen's like, oh, hopefully it's spectacular. And Dedra's like, well, what if it isn't spectacular? And then she pulls out the Starpath unit that Luthen wanted from Cassian in the first season. And you know that Dedra has now found her axis. And when Dedra realizes that there's smoke coming from the back room, she draws her gun and says, turn around or you're going to be stunned. And Luthen's taken that dagger, sliced himself up. And I thought, man, he's pulled it off. But Dedra says she needs medical in there. And sure enough, medical does get there, stabilizes Luthen, and takes him to a hospital. And then Clea sees it all happen. And what I find interesting is that the flashbacks that are shown in the episode really focus on Clea kind of becoming Luthen's right-hand woman, essentially. And I just love the progression of showing in the first store, she has that confidence. And she goes, toe-to-toe with the owner of the shop. And basically works her up from 7 to 18, which I found very impressive. Then we cut to another flashback of when Clea witnesses a whole bunch of people on chains being led to a wall, and the firing squad just lays into them. And Clea's like, why are we tucking tail and leaving? And Luthen's like, well, this is just something that we have to do. Because we are making moves. We're just, taking loss after loss after loss until it's our time to win. And I love this moment in the episode where he's like, you move when I say you need to move. And then he yells at her to move, and then she does. And that was absolutely amazing. Third and final flashback sees Clea and Luthen on what I assume to be Naboo, but I don't think it's Naboo. And Luthen's put charges on some Imperial vehicles that are out on a bridge. And Clea, he hands the switch over to Clea and is like, you do this. And Clea's like, you don't think that I'm capable of doing it? And Luthen stops her and is like, I don't want you to have... My assumption is, his thinking is like, I don't want you to have that burden. And presses the button, and he says, look at me. And she looks at him, the explosion goes off, and then he says, look. And I just love the fact that he's like, he tells her all of these choreographed moments because that's what other people would do. They would react to the explosion and then look to see where it came from. So smart on his part. Meanwhile, in present, Clea is basically making her way to the hospital to basically finish what Luthen had started. Also, Dedra is arrested by Hert, who is one of her colleagues, for basically overstepping her boundaries. And, she's taken away, she's dealt with. Clea takes care of all of the other troopers that are guarding that level, and she eventually does make it in, take him off life support, and he does indeed die. Luthen goes out of the show. Rest in peace to him, man. He was that initial spark for the rebellion to grow and grow into like a really big flame that it is towards like the tail end of this season. And it's amazing how they were able to kind of give him a death that he went out on his own terms, but it was also kind of a team effort in trying to get him to the finish line there. But yeah, episode 10 was such a heartbreaker and so good at the exact same time. And I'm very excited to watch the remaining 2 episodes. But until my next review, guys, be safe out there. And remember, you could be the spark to your own rebellion. And I will catch you later.